should burn in the Quran and other movies about Islam and the Prophet Muhammad that results in strife and so on, the crimes. Well, just recently a judge gave permission to, I think it's Google to keep the video online. That's okay, and I think that was so unfortunate. Um, I mean, don't we understand that these folks are upset with it? Well, we can't be worried folks were upset. Well, we should. All right. I believe that the First Amendment does not give people this kind of liberty to do things that going to make people this upset. Yeah, the Muslims have an agenda, and yes, they're taking this thing too far, and this outrageous manufacture and all that. But the deal is that if you know that's the case, why even give them an opportunity to get outraged? I mean, the ambassador in Benghazi should be alive today. The attacks on the embassies around the Middle East shouldn't be happening. I believe that this guy is liable. I think that people, the ambassador's family and others who died, should take him to court, civil trial. I mean, there's kind of like private speech, there's um, social speech, and there's public speech. I mean, he could have made that video and show it to his wife and his kids and himself and have fun. He could have showed it to his friends and ensure that nobody gets a copy. The way you're going to put it publicly out there and causing all this commotion, he should be liable for something. It should even be a crime. Now, look at it. You talk about, oh, the First Amendment, you could say what you want and so forth. Not really. You can't go in a movie theater and shout fire and people stampede and some die and damage to property and so on. You can go to jail. They're going to charge you with something. I mean, maybe even be charged with homicide or so on, or homicides. Now, if he had shot in his home fire, his family know he was joking, everything is cool. And if he brought his friends together and then say, fire, they may not respond the way, but when you go in the public place now and make a public speech in a place where people might take it serious and literal and end up hurting themselves, then it's a crime. And I think the same thing should apply. We should become more sensitive and say, look, yeah, you could say what you want, you could do what you want, but not if it's going to cause some violence. I mean, here's the police. Why would I want to make a threatening gesture or say something threatening and the fella's arm? I mean, you won't try that. And you won't say that, I'm going to kill you, cop. I'm going to your waist for some gun or something. He might shoot you. Or tell the cop, man, that thing I give you, have poison in it, man. You have some problems. So I just believe that we ought to, here on out, use a lot of wisdom in the way we relate to others. Because, yes, freedom of speech, but we don't like to see people burn our flag. And the government here already said that support free speech. But still, if the Muslims burn it, it's a problem. It doesn't look good. And I think that this guy that made this Muslim film, basically, I know the whole deal. I think he's being used by the same people that foment in the Middle East, call it Spring Revolution. No revolution. Is setting up the Middle East for some serious chaos and then drag the North America and Europe into it because we saw coming out of that, we had the Occupy, Los Angeles, Washington, Wall Street, and all that. Something that came out of the Middle East operation. So the people who are behind that are, they are the people behind it, or primarily Satan. And so, if we had gone ahead now and liberate those folks in Syria and gone and do the same thing in Iran, and then this film come out now and all these places start reporting Afghan serious attacks, serious shooting of the place, they have to go in now. Can we respond to all of those things? So I think that the court and the government should sit down, Congress should sit down and say, listen, this freedom of speech thing is still the, you have your private freedoms, you have your social freedoms. So when you go in public, you got to be careful what you're saying. And if you say anything that you think you have a right to, and it causes cause anything. It doesn't matter if the person is mentally disabled or what. If there's some kind of destructive activity happening, you're liable. And I think that folks use a little more common sense. As I say, you can make a video, you can do whatever, but keep it private. But when you're going to end things, you know that he knew that it would have incited this kind of violence. I mean, it has happened in the past. So why do it again? So we need to, look at this carefully and see whether, this kind of activity shouldn't be covered by some code and some law so that folks going to, keep the peace.